Salam. Walaikum salam. What is the correct way to perform Witr Salah? Regarding the correct way to perform Witr Salah, we come to know from various Sahih Hadith. There's a Hadith in Sunnah Tirmidhi, volume number 1, Hadith number 452. And according to Shaykh Nasr al-Albani, this Hadith is Sahih Hadith. A beloved Prophet ﷺ said that, would you like to know a Salah which Allah has given, which is more valuable than the red camels? And the Prophet continues, it is Witr Salah, which is prayed between the Isha Salah and before the time of Fajr Salah. So from this hadith we come to know that the time for the Witr Salah is after you finish your Isha Salah and any time before the break of dawn, before the time of Fajr Salah start. It's further mentioned in Sahih Muslim, volume number 2, Hadith number 1766, that the beloved Prophet ﷺ said, according to Jabir, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that the Prophet said that if you fear that you will not be able to get up towards the end of the night, then you offer your Witr Salah at the beginning of the night. But if you're sure that you're going to get up towards the end of the night, then you pray Witr towards the end of the night, because that is witnessed and it is better for you. Then another hadith says it is witnessed by angels. From this hadith we come to know that it is best to pray Witr towards the end of night, that is towards the last 1/3 of night. But if you are doubtful or if you are not sure that you will get up, then you can pray at the beginning of the night also, but the better time to pray Witr is towards the last 1/3 of the night, just before the break of dawn, before the time for Fajr Salah start. That is the best time. But you can pray also in the beginning of the night, but it should be after the Isha Salah. After the Isha Salah. There's another hadith in Sahih Muslim, volume number 2, Hadith number 1749, where beloved Prophet ﷺ said that when someone asked him how to pray the night prayers, he said, in night prayers you pray 2 rakat, then 2 rakat, then 2 rakat, and when you fear that dawn is going to break, then pray 1 rakat Witr. A similar message is given in Sahih al-Bukhari, volume number 1, Hadith number 472, when someone asks the Prophet that how to pray the night prayer. So he said the night prayers are prayed in 2 rakat, plus 2 rakat, plus 2 rakat, plus 2 rakat, and when you fear that dawn is going to break, then pray 1 rakat Witr. And this Witr is for all your rakat. And Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said that you pray your tahajjud, that is the night prayers after you sleep and you get up, and you pray tahajjud in even numbers, and then you pray Witr in odd number. So from this you come to know that Witr actually by definition means odd. You can pray Witr 1 rakat, and that's what was said in this hadith of Bukhari and Muslim. Further, if you read in Sunnah al-Kubra by al-Bayhaqi, hadith number 4083, it says, Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she said that the Prophet prayed 3 rakat Witr, and he did not sit except in the last rakah. So Witr can be prayed in 3 rakat, and one of the ways to pray Witr is that you pray 3 rakat together. Do not sit in the second rakat, only sit and do tashahhud in the third rakah. Another hadith is there in Sahih ibn Hibban, hadith number 2435, where it's said that the Prophet differentiated the odd rakat, the 2 rakat even, and 1 rakat odd with taslim. That means the Prophet prayed 2 rakat, then did taslim, did the salam, and then again prayed 1 rakat. So this is another way of offering 3 rakat witr. The most common amongst all the witr means odd, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. The most common, the Prophet prayed 3 rakat, and that was 2 plus 1. But there are also ways of praying 3 rakat together and only sit in the last rakah. Further, if you read, it is mentioned in Sahih Muslim, volume number 2, hadith number 1720, in which Hazrat Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she says that the Prophet offered 13 rakats of night prayer, in which 5 rakats were witr, and he did not sit in any rakah except the last rakah. So here it means that the Prophet prayed 8 rakat and 5 rakat witr. 8 rakat, you can call it tahajjud, night prayer, followed with 5 rakat witr. In the 5 rakat, he did not sit in any rakah except the last rakah. That means all the 4 rakat, the Prophet stood, said the Surah Fatiha, said the verse of the Quran, did the sajda, again got up. Only he sat in the last rakah. So there was only one tashahud, and then the salam. There is another hadith in Sunnah-I, volume number 2, hadith number 1715, that Salma, may Allah be pleased with her, who was the wife of the Prophet, she said that the Prophet used to pray witr 5 rakat and 7 rakat. And he never separated them with taslim. That means all the 5 rakat were prayed together, all the 7 rakat were prayed together. And if you agree with the early hadith of Sahih Muslim, that means the Prophet only sat for tashahhud in the last rakah. That means all the 5 rakat were prayed together, last rakat he sat down. When Prophet prayed 7 rakat witr, he stood for all the rakat and sat down only for the last rakah. And then did the salam, that is taslim. There are other hadith which speak about the Prophet, how he prayed the 9 rakat. And one of the hadith says that it's a Sahih hadith, that the Prophet prayed 9 rakat witr and sat down for tashahhud in the 8th rakah and also in the 9th rakah. That means first 7 rakah he did not sit, 8th rakah he sat, and 9th rakah he sat. There's another hadith which says that the Prophet prayed 11 rakah witr, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, and last rakat he prayed 1. So these are the various ways how witr can be prayed. Witr, as I mentioned, is odd, 1 rakat or 3 rakat or 5 rakat or 7 rakat or 9 rakat or 11 rakat. There is another hadith of Sunnah-I, volume number 2, hadith number 1701, where it says that the Prophet, when he prayed witr, in the first rakah, he prayed Surah Allaah, Sabbih ismi rabbikal a'la. That is chapter number 87, Surah Allaah, the Most High. In the second rakah, he prayed Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun, that is Surah Kafirun, Surah number 109. And the last rakat, he prayed Surah Ikhlas, Kul huwallahu ahad. That is the 112th chapter of the Quran. So we come to know it is a sunnah that when you read 3 rakat, in the first rakat you read Surah Allaah, in the second rakat you read Surah Kafirun, and third rakat Surah Ikhlas. It's a sunnah. There are other hadith. So this is talking about the witr, the time of witr, the best time. The time of witr is between after Isha Salah and before the Fajr Salah. The best time is the later part of the night. Rakat can be 1, can be 3, can be 5, can be 7, can be 9, can be 11, and I've told you the way the Prophet prayed. The surah that is preferable to be read in the first rakat is sunnah, not a fard. Surah Allaah, second rakat Surah Kafirun, third rakat Surah Ikhlas. And there are other hadith we say that you can read Dua Qunud. It's a sunnah that the Prophet read Dua Qunud in the last rakat of Witr. That means in the last rakat, after the ruku, when you get up, before you go for sajda, there's Dua Qunud. It's a sunnah. So this was in brief regarding the Witr Salah.
Move on. Brother Muhammad from Oman, he has some doubts. Yesterday we said that the sunnah is to pray the witr prayer, 3 rak'ahs, with 1 salam, but without sitting in the second rak'ah for the first tashahhud. Because the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from simulating or praying witr as we pray Maghrib. And we know that in Maghrib, we sit in the second rak'ah, and then we sit in the third rak'ah, and after that we conclude our prayer. So the Prophet is saying, pray 3 in Maghrib, but do not sit in the second rak'ah, so that it would not be like Maghrib. And by the way, just an extra bit of information, the Prophet, as Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, told us that the Prophet used to offer witr 5 rak'ahs in a row, only sitting in the 5th. So the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, he would not sit. The 5th, he would sit, do tashahhud, and offer salam. And he would offer 7 rak'ahs as witr in one go, and he would only sit in the 7th rak'ah, and then offer salams. And he also would offer 9 rak'ahs as witr, and he would sit in the 8th, and also in the 9th rak'ah as well. So this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So Brother Muhammad from Oman is asking about the witr. How can we pray behind someone who is clearly going against the Prophet's instruction not to pray the witr like Maghrib? And I clarified this yesterday, and I said, though you and I believe that this is against the sunnah, the imam who's following that madhab believes that it is part of the sunnah. And he thinks that maybe the hadith we're following is weak, or maybe he is blindly following his shuyukh and the imam and the scholars of his school of thought. Therefore, he actually is not thinking that he's doing a sin. And that is why the scholars say that if you pray behind him, while he believes what he's doing is correct, your prayer is valid as well. A lot of the imams don't raise their hands when they bow and raise their heads from bowing. We know that this is an authentic sunnah without any doubt. It's in the Sahih al-Bukhari and elsewhere. There's no doubt in it at all. Yet people still remain defiant and say, no, we follow our school of thought. This must be fabricated. You tell them it's in Bukhari. They say, we don't know Bukhari. They're ignorant. They don't have any knowledge. So if I pray behind them, would I say, no, they're doing something that is against the sunnah, or they're doing this? This is what they believe. So therefore, instead of wasting the night prayer by only praying 8 rak'ahs behind them or 20 rak'ahs behind them, and then going back to home and praying 3 rak'ahs or 1 rak'ah witr, by doing this, you would have wasted the reward of praying the whole night from Isha till Fajr. Because this is what the Prophet ﷺ said. And that is why scholars say, pray behind him and follow him in his 3 rak'ahs witr like the Maghrib. And if there is any burden, it would be against him, and you are exempted from that, inshaAllah.
भाई ने सवाल किया कि वितर की नमाज में बहुत सारे लोग नमाज में ऑलरेडी है, फिर एक बार हाथ उठाकर हाथ बांधते हैं. देखिए हदीस के अंदर अल्फाज है, नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम फरमाया, अपनी वितर और मगरिब की नमाज को अलग करो, क्योंकि मगरिब भी 3 रकात है और वितर भी 3 रकात है. लेकिन उसको कैसे अलग करना है वो नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने खुद बता दिया. आइए उसका तरीक़ा हम देखते हैं. नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जब 3 रकात वितर के कई तरीक़े, मेरा एक पूरा लेक्चर है वितर और वितर के मसाइल, उसमें तरीक़े 1 रकात, 3 रकात के जितने किस्में हैं, दो किस्म से वो, उसके बाद 5 रकात, 7 रकात और 9 रकात, हमने पूरी रकातें भी देखी. तो आइए आपको बता दूं, वो 3 रकात की अगर नमाज़ पढ़ते हैं तो मगरिब की 3 और ये 3 एक जैसी नज़र आती है, तो कैसे अलग करें? तो नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जब वितर की नमाज़ पढ़ते, 3 रकात पढ़ते, तो 2 तरीक़ों से पढ़ते. पहला तरीक़ा ये होता है कि आप 2 रकात नमाज़ पढ़ते और सलाम फेर देते, फिर आप खड़े होकर 1 रकात पढ़ते. ये हुआ 3 रकात वितर 2 क़ायदों से और 2 सलाम से. उसके बाद नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अगर एक साथ 3 वितर पढ़ते, उसका तरीक़ा ये होता कि आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम 1 रकात पढ़ते, ठीक है, उसके बाद दूसरी रकात पढ़ते, ठीक है, और उसके बाद तीसरी रकात पढ़ते, और तीसरी रकात में क़ायदा करते. दूसरी रकात के बाद क़ायदा नहीं होता, ठीक, डायरेक्ट तीसरी रकात में एक क़ायदा. 5 रकात नमाज़ पढ़ते तो 5 रकात का तरीक़ा ये है कि आप 4 रकात पे क़ायदा करते और फिर 5वीं रकात पे क़ायदा करते, और अगर 7 रकात पढ़ते तो आप छठी रकात पे एक करते और फिर 7वीं पे एक सलाम करते। समझ रहे, मतलब छठी पे एक कायदा और 7वीं पे एक, मतलब पूरी नमाजें कंटिन्यू चलती इतनी फिर बगैर कायदे की। तो अगर 3 रकात नमाजें कोई पढ़ रहा है तो वो अलग ऐसा करे, या तो 2 और 1 पढ़े, या तो फिर 3 एक साथ, मतलब 3 रकात वित्र एक सलाम से और एक कायदे से, ये ऐसा पढ़ना चाहिए। लेकिन हमारे पास बहुत सारे लोग फ़िक़ी मसाइल में बहुत उलझ जाते हैं, जबकि वाज़ेह दलाइल मौजूद है और वो कहते हैं कि अलग करो, हदीस में चूँकि है तो हम एक रफ़ादैन करके इसको अलग कर रहे हैं, जबकि वित्र की तीसरी रकात में रफ़ादैन करके फिर बांधना ये सुन्नत से साबित नहीं है। ये फ़िक़ी मसला है। सुन्नत से जो बात साबित है 2 और 1 या 3 एक साथ, ये बिल्कुल वाज़ेह है। तो कहते हैं रफ़ादैन करके हम उसको मगरिब से अलग कर देते हैं, जबकि अलग करने का तरीक़ा अल्लाह के रसूल ने बता दिया, 2 और 1 करके या 3 एक साथ करके आखिरी क़ायदे में आप एक ही क़ायदा करेंगे और उसके बाद सलाम पढ़ देंगे, तो ये ज़्यादा बेहतर है। अब क्या वो जो एक तकबीर उठाकर वो कर रहा है, देखिए तकबीर के अंदर हाथ उठाना ये वो सब हम ये नहीं कहते कि गलत है, लेकिन मसला ये है कि ये तरीक़ा नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से तीसरी रकात वित्र का साबित नहीं है।
The qunut that I recite goes like Allahumma inna nasta'inuka wa nastaghfiruka wa nu'minu bika wa natawakkalu alayka wa nuthni alayka al-khayra kullahu wa nashkuruka wa la nakfuruka. Is this okay? This is the one that I memorize. First of all, what is the ruling on qunut in Witr? Qunut has 2 meanings, by the way. One of them is prolonging the recitation of the Quran. أفضل القيام طول القنوت. The best of night prayer is to prolong recitation of the Quran. And the other meaning is the dua, which people do, generally speaking, in Witr. But it also can be done when there is a calamity that befalls upon the Muslims in a particular area, so that Allah would uplift it. So what is the ruling on qunut in Witr? This is something recommended. In the hadith of Al-Hasan ibn Ali, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, he went to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was just a child of 8, maybe 9, maybe 7 years of age. And he asked the Prophet ﷺ to teach him a dua to recite in qunut. So the Prophet told him ﷺ, Allahumma ihdini fi man hadayt wa afini fi man afayt, the one that we always hear the Imams recite in qunut. So this is Sunnah, and the Prophet taught Al-Hasan to do it. What about the one we have just read from Brother Shahid? This is not reported from the Prophet ﷺ, but it was reported from Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, and he is the second caliph. And the Prophet told us ﷺ to abide by the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and of those rightly guided caliphs after him, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, may Allah be pleased with them all. Therefore, it is an authentic hadith, and this is why a lot of the scholars say that saying it is permissible.
सारी जिंदगी वितर की नमाज गलत अदा करते आ रहे थे हम. Imagine that. रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया कि अपनी वितर की नमाज को मगरिब की नमाज की तरह अदा मत करो. नाउ ये वो हदीस है जो मुस्तदरक हाकिम में रिपोर्ट हुई है, इमाम दाराकुतनी ने इसको रिपोर्ट किया है, इमाम बैहकी ने रिपोर्ट किया है, एंड हाफिज इब्न हजर अस्कलानी इसको अपनी किताब फतुल बारी में रिपोर्ट करते हैं और कहते हैं कि ये हदीस शेखैन के जो शेखुल मुहद्दिसीन है, इमाम मुस्लिम एंड इमाम बुखारी, उनके रूल्स पे पूरी पूरी उतरती है. इसकी सनद फ्लॉलेस है, मतलब ये हदीस ऑथेंटिक है. नाउ नबी अलैहि सलाम ने जो हमें मना किया ना कि वितर की नमाज को मगरिब की तरह अदा ना करो, उसमें बहुत माइन्यूट सा चेंज है. जैसे हम मगरिब की नमाज में पहली रकत अदा करते हैं, सेकंड रकत में बैठ जाते हैं, तशहुद में अत्तहियात अदा करते हैं, फिर थर्ड रकत के लिए खड़े होते हैं और फिर थर्ड रकत भी वैसे ही अदा होती है जैसे सेकंड की थी, विद द एडिशन ऑफ दुरूद एंड देन सलाम. वितर की नमाज में हल्का सा चेंज आता है. वितर की नमाज में आपको सेकंड रकत में तशहुद अदा नहीं करना होता. नमाज में तशहुद का एलिमेंट वो होता है जहां हम बैठते हैं और अत्तहियात अदा करते हैं. नॉर्मली तशहुद सेकंड और फोर्थ रकत में अदा किया जाता है जो इवन नंबर की रकतें होती हैं. लेकिन रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने बहुत क्लियर किया है. नबी अलैहि सलाम ने फरमाया कि जब तुम वितर की नमाज अदा करो तो सेकंड रकत में तशहुद अदा मत करो और थर्ड रकत में डायरेक्टली खड़े होने के बाद तशहुद अदा करो, दुरूद पढ़ो, दुआ करो एंड मूव ऑन। थर्ड रकत में एक और एडिशन ये भी होता है कि कुनूत नाज़ला पढ़नी होती है। नाउ सब कॉन्टिनेंट में ये कल्चर है कि कुनूत नाज़ला की जगह दुआए कुनूत पढ़ी जाती है। दुआए कुनूत इज अल्लाहुम्मा इन्ना नस्तईनुका व नस्तगफिरुका एंड कुनूत नाज़ला इज अल्लाहुम्मा हदिनी फीमा हदैत। ये दो डिफरेंट दुआएं हैं। बचपन से हमें बताया जा रहा है कि सेकंड रकत में बैठना है, अत्तहियात पढ़ना है, फिर थर्ड रकत में खड़े होना है और फिर थर्ड रकत में रुकू में जाने से पहले दुआए कुनूत पढ़नी है। लेकिन नबी अलैहि सलाम की सुन्नत थी कि वो कुनूत नाज़ला पढ़ा करते थे। नबी अलैहि सलाम की सुन्नत थी कि वो सेकंड रकत में बैठते नहीं थे, थर्ड में डायरेक्टली खड़े हो जाया करते थे ताकि मगरिब से अपनी वितर को डिफरेंशिएट कर लें। इनफैक्ट नबी अलैहि सलाम की सुन्नत तो ये भी थी कि वो 2 रकतें वितर की अदा किया करते थे, सलाम फेरते थे और उसके बाद एक सिंगल रकत अदा किया करते थे, बिकॉज वितर लिटरली मींस ऑड। लेकिन हमें तो सारी जिंदगी बताया ही यही तरीका गया था। अगर हमने गलत नमाज पढ़ी है तो इसमें हमारा क्या फॉल्ट? हमारा फॉल्ट ये है कि हम नेग्लिजेंट थे, हमने इल्म हासिल नहीं किया। नबी अलैहि सलाम ने हम पर इल्म हासिल करना फर्ज रखा था, हर मर्द और औरत पर फर्ज किया था। सो इससे पहले अगर हम गलत नमाज पढ़ रहे थे तो हमारी नेग्लिजेंस थी। अल्लाह मेहरबान है, रहीम है, अल गफ्फार है, अल गफूर है, माफी मांगे माफ करेगा। लेकिन सही तरीका जान लेने के बाद भी अगर आप वितर की नमाज गलत तरीके से, खिलाफ सुन्नत तरीके से अदा करते हैं तो ये नेग्लिजेंस नहीं है, ये इग्नोरेंस है।